South of Live Oak, due east of Route 129, wildflowers flourish along the Suwannee County roads.
The flowers, they bring in a breath of fresh air. They're going to come the same time every year. They're going to bloom, they make seed, and you relate that to your farming operation. You know, everything has its season. You know, there's a time to plant this crop, there's a time to plant that crop. They're just constant reminders that, you know, you got to work with that nature. And anytime, my experience is, you try to work against it, the results are not very good. You always got to work with it.
It's this recognition of the need to work with nature, to work with the land, to adapt and innovate, and to do so with a strong work ethic that has enabled Randall Dasher and his family to maintain a heritage of good stewardship into its fourth generation of farming. The Dasher family began farming in McAlpin, Florida in 1948. Returning from World War II, Randall's father, Thomas Isaiah, T.I., a second-generation farmer, bought land here and established the family farm, growing tobacco and corn. In 1971, Randall and his wife Pam started farming on their own, growing row crops. It wasn't long before Randall saw the need to improve the seed and grain cleaning process for local farmers.
There was 2 real small seed operations in the area, but they weren't adequate to handle any real volume of seed. When you look at how they did it and what they were doing, there's got to be a better way.
Traditionally, after seed and grain are harvested, they are dried in large enclosed barns or other buildings. Randall came up with an innovative method of drying seed in customized Peerless drying trailers stored in open sheds. Starting with 8 trailers, the farm now runs 20. Randall paired this drying technique with a more efficient cleaning process and continues to be one of the main seed and grain processing and distribution businesses for Suwannee County and the surrounding areas.
Innovation is important because in our industry, anytime that you can save a trip across the field, save some moisture, save some of your time, and less wear and tear on your equipment, then that adds to your bottom line.
Innovation is the hallmark of Dasher Farm. From the seed cleaning business, to the hydroponic greenhouses, to the row crop operations, finding ways to become more efficient and environmentally sound is key. A truly family-run operation, Randall works with his wife, Pam, his daughter, Sarah, his son, Justin, and occasionally Sarah's husband, William.
My son has come back from the military, and we're looking at things that maybe we can expand into and let him be a part of the farming operation also. Sarah, she's been with me for 15 years now. She's my right-hand man. We're partners, basically, is what it amounts to.
And now, some of these oats, now those are expectable, but they won't move until October.
We couldn't run without Sarah.
In 1986, Dasher Farm ventured into hydroponics, building several greenhouses to grow a diversity of vegetable crops like tomatoes, lettuce, and cucumbers, as well as 12 varieties of herbs. Constantly trying new things, the Dashers are always adapting to the needs of the local and national markets. Currently, the greenhouse operation is primarily a mixture of chives and leafy green lettuce. The chives are grown as a wholesale product and shipped throughout the eastern United States. All of the lettuce grown in the greenhouses is served locally. Working through the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Farm to School program, Dasher Farm provides local schools with fresh lettuce, teaching school-aged children that fresh, good-tasting food can also be good for you.
One of the exciting and fun parts about the farm is being able to take the lettuce into the schools and into a local restaurant. You kind of just have this quiet satisfaction that you helped in that process and that it's being grown right here and people are enjoying the nutritious lettuce. They also start bridging that gap that there are farmers that behind it that still grow it.
To lessen the farm's environmental impact, Dasher Farm has worked on a number of best management practices, or BMPs. The greenhouse, for instance, employs an enclosed hydroponic system. Randall checks the nutrient levels on a daily basis to ensure water quality. Periodically, the holding tanks are cleaned and the nutrient-rich water is collected for reuse in his fields.
He basically has no leaching, no wasting of the water or fertilizer in his hydroponic nutrient system. I think his forward look always is ready to take on something new and meet the new challenges. And it's not only in the hydroponic operation, it's this whole operation. He's embraced change, and that is so important in today's agriculture, to be flexible, to be ready to take on new markets and learn how to grow new crops. Being a problem solver, being a very innovative and forward-looking kind of an individual has made him the successful farmer that he is.
So on these tables here, we're running 5 minutes on, 25 off.
Rather than relying on traditional irrigation methods on the farm's 200 acres of row crop fields, Randall has adopted the use of cover crop and strip-till farming methods. Cover crops like rye and oats absorb excess nutrients as they mature and set roots. Randall harvests the grain portion out of the crops for use as winter forage for either cattle or dairy industry. The remaining plant is then rolled down, creating a thick mat that covers the field. Once the fields have been harvested, Randall will then plant the next crop, such as peanuts. Using the strip-till method, he tills only the seed row, leaving the rest of the field undisturbed. Eventually, the cover crop will break down, adding organic matter to the soil. And because of the cover crop's established root system, there is no concern with leaching or erosion. After 3 years of using these methods, Dasher Farm has achieved the same yields using less fertilizer with no irrigation.
Of course, if you're less dependent on irrigation system, that's good impact to the environment, not having to rely on groundwater. Well, one thing all of us should like to see is early adopters of technology or best management practices. We would hope that they would be followed by others in the community, and that's what typically we see time and time again. We have early adopters that go out and do the stuff and show that it can be done. Mr. Dasher has done that. And then others come along and say, I think I might could do that.
Taking these best management practices further, Randall has combined them with a rotation of crops that are low moisture tolerant. Recently, Randall has added sesame to his rotation of crops, choosing it for its soil health benefits and the ability to grow in a dry land system.
This industry has only been around this area for about 3 years. Mr. Dasher was one of the first growers in this area to become interested in sesame and to actually grow it on his farm. And he also offered his seed plant as part of the infrastructure that would be used to start this industry.
Randall grows sesame for Sesico, and Dasher Farm is currently the North Florida receiving station for the company. All the sesame grown in this area comes to Dasher Farm to be received, collected, and cleaned, then shipped out where it is then processed. Helping lead the growing of sesame in Suwannee County, Randall is an active member of the Suwannee County Sesame Group Advisory Committee and has served as a liaison between the local sesame growers, researchers, and Sesico.
He provides oversight to all the research that has been conducted over the last 2 years. Now I want to show you this trial, and we have 2 varieties in this trial. We have S30. He also visits other growers' fields to look at the conditions of the crop, to look at possible problems that we might have not expected to have. He also helps growers determine when the crop is mature so that it can be harvested on time. And then he has worked with the company to make sure that they are providing a fair assessment to the growers.
While it is important to know how his farm impacts the environment, to Randall it is equally important to understand how the environment affects his farm. He has gained the nickname Weatherman due to his avid observations of the rainfall in the area surrounding his farm. He has meticulously measured and documented rainfall amounts for the past 20 years.
As far as the weather goes, he watches it when he gets up in the morning, and he watches it at noon, and he watches it before we go to bed at night. Always, since I can remember, if after a rain shower or a heavy rain, Randall always gets out and checks the rain gauges. That's the first thing he does, is go check his rain gauges to see how much we got. I've just gotten used to it over the years. I pick at him about it now, but used to, I was like, why does he do that all the time?
Due to his avid observations of the rainfall in the area surrounding his farm, Randall's careful record keeping has not only helped him with making decisions on his farming operations, but has also been utilized by climate researchers.
Yella?
Hi, Randall. This is Wendy Lynn Bartels with the University of Florida. How's your summer going?
I'm doing okay. Just watching the weather right here.
I would describe Randall as a scientist farmer. Usually we spend a lot of time thinking about averages. How much is the average rainfall and how is that changing? Now we think about when does the rain fall in the growing season, not just how much rain do we get over the whole season. So Randall's stimulation has helped us to rethink how we study rainfall, how we study historical data. And I think what's also important is that he's helped my peers who are researchers understand that we have a lot to learn from farmers.
Randall's collaborative efforts are not just limited to working with the University of Florida IFAS extension agents, ag researchers, and local area growers groups. He has served as an industry and community leader as long as he has been farming.
One of the areas that Randall really stands heads above many other people is his openness and availability in the community for other farmers and ranchers. Randall has opened his records, he's opened his farm, his farming techniques to anybody that wants to learn. He's not afraid to show you his successes, and he's not afraid to show you what didn't work. And that's how people learn, and I'm very appreciative for that, and so is the community.
Randall is committed to moving the agriculture industry forward, and has done so through his involvement with a variety of groups. He participates in advisory and oversight policy committees with the Florida Farm Bureau Federation, where he has served as a state director for 20 years, and is currently the Suwannee County Farm Bureau president.
Sometime at the end of October. Fall harvest will be sometime at the school again and do the essay contest.
The Dasher family has also dedicated many hours investing in the youth of Florida agriculture, collaborating closely with FFA and 4-H, hosting and leading many Ag in the Classroom events.
But the plant will keep pegging its whole life.
Dad he's a great ambassador, for just agriculture in general, because anybody on any given day can drive up to this farm and ask him a question. That's one of the greatest things I admire about him, is that he is a great teacher.
Yeah, well,
And it doesn't matter who they are, and he'll answer it for them. He'll tell them the ins and outs from point A to all the way to Z, to how this farm works and what we do and why we do it, how we do it, and everything else. If they ask, who makes the time? I laugh because there's days where I'm like, hey, we got stuff to do.
While he does enjoy showing his farm to visitors, Randall always sets aside time for those closest to him. To celebrate the harvest of his crop, the Dashers host an annual peanut boil for family and friends.
When will the sesame be ready, Mama?
Oh, well, it's looking really good, but it'll be ready in time. My hopes for the farm is to be able to continue it, to be able to pass it on. We'll continue to adapt, do the best practices that we can to protect our resources, and so that it's here for generations to come.
Oh, you can shoot over his stuff. I mean, he puts
It's really not, it's not what you do. It becomes who you are, and it is who you are. Realizing that it's what I want to do, and enjoying it as much as I have been since I've been back here on the farm, I realize it's at the core of who I am. When you realize that, it's not something you turn away from. It's something you turn to and embrace it. And I think you find success that way too.
The fact that Sarah and Justin have shown that they want to carry on what Randall and I have built makes me very happy. And I think that the way the two of them are and can work together, that they'll be able to continue on with it. And I think it's going to grow to something that they're going to be proud of and their daddy's going to be good with.
Dad has a love of the land. It's in his blood, and that love and that care shows in the practices that we do here on the farm and the way we grow our crops, and he has instilled that in us.
Randall Dasher has dedicated his entire life to farming, innovating and adapting while implementing sound stewardship practices. And it's these same qualities that have enabled Dasher Farm to weather the changes in the growing landscape of Florida agriculture.
Every farmer wants to leave it better than he found it, and that's what we're trying to do. And it takes everybody working together to make it. That's just who we are, that's what we do, and that's what we like. That's just the way we operate.